Hey there, everybody. Welcome to our America's Got Talent discussion, all about what I think is actually a really good night of AGT. I think this is a much better overall night than the premiere. I mean, we had Archie Williams in the premiere, we had Voices of Our City, but I think overall the talent was more widespread in this episode.
No, I agree. And for me, I just really enjoyed this episode because there were so many sort of callbacks to my home and to Toronto about with Roberta, and we'll have a link for that reaction below. We did that a little bit earlier. Who got the golden buzzer tonight?
Yes.
Well deserved. But yeah, it was a very cool episode. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, and we're gonna go through a lot of the other notable acts from tonight in this video, including Bonavega, who closed the show, the Bello Sisters, who I think are incredible, Usama, Kelvin Dukes, and the Divas and Drummers of Compton. But before we get into all of this good stuff, if you do like this video, give us a like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss any other updates. I think we start with Bonavega because this dude closes the show, and I already have to say, he may very well be the most polarizing act of the season. I think people are either going to love him or they're going to just find him incredibly over the top and irritating.
Yeah, and I mean, it's unfortunate, but that seems to happen on this show often with these acts. It was the same with Hans, who was someone that I really like. I didn't like him for AGT Champions, but I like him, and I'm having a similar feeling here, not about that he can't win, because I think anybody can win, but I liked him. I actually liked him better than Hans. I thought that his whole performance was just so entertaining. I liked that he was sort of using more rock and roll with the guitar. The whole act was just fascinating.
This is the real question I'm sort of stuck on. It's the outfit. If he did not wear that outfit, which seemed like it was, I don't know what it was. It seemed like he was some sort of like dancer in a musical or something.
Yeah, I love that mixed with sort of the mullet hair and the flames on his eyebrows. There was so much going on in this act that it felt like he was a whole bunch of people, which is really hard to do when you're just a single person in an act. He felt like he filled up the stage.
I don't know if he would have been better or worse if he had just sort of dressed like kind of a normal performer on this show. I think we remember him a lot more because of it, but I think that may also be a part of why he could be polarizing, because I think some people, the moment he probably sported that outfit, they probably thought he was a joke. And he's not a joke. He is legitimately, like, actually good and interesting.
Yeah, I mean, even Simon said that the minute that he came out, they were like, oh, he's gonna have 10 seconds and he'll be done.
Yeah, but he was entertaining. I have no idea how well this guy is going to do, but maybe I'm just partial even more because they started playing More Than a Feeling in the background at the end of this. I'm like, yes! Give me all of the classic rock. This is my type of music here.
That's, I think, why I liked him a bit better than someone like Hans, because he's into that same sort of genre of performer, and he's not picking songs that are more geared towards that genre that we hear over and over and over and over again. Yeah. He is picking stuff that is different. That's, you've got him in this sparkly outfit with sort of that rock and roll feeling. It was nothing I've ever seen before, so I liked it.
It's such an interesting contrast where you have this guy, Bonavega, closing the show, and then earlier on you have Kelvin Dukes, who just comes out on stage, and he's just like, he's so pure, and I
love him so much.
He was just so sweet, and he was like kind of nerdy, and that appeals to me, and I was like, you're so nice. And then you look at him, and then you look at this guy at the end of the show, and it's like, is this the same show?
Listen, we gotta talk about Kelvin now that you've brought him up, because I've met very few people in my life, and I've never met Kelvin, but I've not even seen on TV that many people in my life that have like pure charisma. That feeling that Simon had where he was just like, I don't even know you, but like, I like you. Yeah. Like, we're all feeling that. And it's because Kelvin has a charisma that, like, nobody has. It's super rare to come across something that's that natural that people are just drawn into your personality. And then you add on top of it a beautiful voice. And you add on top of that a performer. And on top of that, confidence. And all of that is packed into somebody who is 14 years old. It's nothing I've ever seen before. He's incredible.
He's legitimately really, really good. You can tell he loves performing. You can tell he really put some thought into it. He's a very good singer. He is very, very innately likable, where you see him, you hear him sing, you get on board with the journey. I do want, I'm not just saying journey because I referenced another 80s band earlier in the episode, but no, I really do. I am very invested in Kelvin already.
Me too.
I think clearly he's going to have a ton of singing competition now. This is a packed category. Archie, Kelvin, Roberta from this episode.
Yeah, there's a lot of singers, really talented singers, and we are only in episode 2.
Yeah, it is going to be crazy moving forward. Speaking of crazy, Bello Sisters may be one of my favorite acts of this season so far, because this has boggled my mind. I've seen this sort of acrobatic / sort of strength act before, but I don't think I've ever seen it with 3 women who are their size being able to do what they do and just boggle my understandings of human physics. It was crazy.
It was so crazy to see their core strength.
Yeah.
I've seen core strength, of course, in all these different type of acrobatic acts and stuff like that, but I have never seen somebody being held up by somebody, but they're holding up somebody else with basically just their feet and their stomach, and that's it. Just that holding that core together to be able to hold somebody up was insanely impressive. Everything about this act, it just felt beautiful but dangerous and elegant, and it was just so smooth. Their transitions were so smooth. I loved them so much.
Really, the moment that they were sort of done, I was just thinking in my head, okay, clearly these are people who have probably done this for the majority of your life. I don't think you wake up one morning and be like, you know, it'd be a great idea to be able to, like, bend my leg over my head. I think this probably takes a lot of preparation.
Yeah, and I mean, it sounds like they come from a family of performers, so if that is the case, which it is the case, then that makes sense that they are then going to be interested in the same idea. And I love that they've come to this show with a long-term plan, because there's a lot of people that do come to the show where they're like, yeah, this is my one chance sort of thing, where they're kind of like, yeah, this is a step into the next part of the plan. Like, they feel like somebody's walked up to Simon and the judges and been like, here's a perfect business plan of this family that's going to come in. We've got these 3 sisters. We've got this dad. We have this going on to put on this show in Vegas. I was just like, I would pay to see that today. Just take my money.
Yeah, and I think they would do great in Vegas. I feel like they probably can do a lot more than what we saw on the episode, which excites me because they did seem so polished and already so put together for this. But we have a couple more acts that I think are really
standouts.
Yeah, really, really interesting. Usama as a comedian. This was just really, really funny to me. The entire bit about names being attached to lovers and, you know, having Alejandro, but then also throwing it in Simon's face. I always enjoy when Simon gets kind of mocked in some shape or form on this show.
Yeah, I really like it when comedians do what he did, which is involve a judge or 2, but it's a very small part of the act. And I really like that, because the act felt more about sort of him storytelling about things, and that he can just throw in a quick little dig at the judges, but it's still about his story. He did that really well. He's a very good storyteller.
The thing that I literally just thought of is that he could have said Howie instead of Simon, and the joke still would have worked.
It's
like,
true.
That is the He's versatile. That's what he is. I know Osama's really funny.
He's really funny.
I think he got better and better as the routine went along too, it's hard in that room because you're like going in, you don't know what is anyone gonna think about me.
And you have like 2 minutes.
Yeah.
And for being a storyteller, a comedian, which is a storyteller, you have 2 minutes to get across one story. That's not easy.
No, and that audience, maybe they've been in there for 2 hours and they got to go to the bathroom or something, or maybe they're all cranky. You don't know what the room is gonna be like.
It's true, and comedy is very subjective, right? It's not every joke lands on every person.
No, and I'm really happy for him though. I'm so excited to see where he's gonna go from here. And yeah, this is why this is such a good episode. So many fun people.
Yep.
Finally, the Divas and Drummers of Compton, who started this show. I loved a lot of this, but I know you loved it especially for very particular reasons.
I really loved, I loved everything about them. I thought they were super talented. I love the idea that they're sort of like trying to bring together scholarships and get all the kids going to colleges and universities and stuff like that. But I just also love their name because they're the Divas and Drummers of Compton, and my grandfather's name is Compton. And so it was, like I said, this is like an episode where all I thought about was home, because we had Roberta, who was from Toronto. I'm from Toronto. She has a Morkie. We have a Morkie. Then, you know, the Divas and Drummers of Compton. Like, oh, my grandpa. So it was a great episode for me.
I think what I loved about it, beyond all these connections, I think they were inspiring, and I love that they sort of took two things I don't see always directly together on this show. Like, we've seen probably 1,000 dance crews. We've probably seen a handful of drummer acts, but having them together, it was a cool thing because it was sort of like you didn't have some canned music in the background or whatever. The dancers got real energy from real drummers, including that like little kid who felt like the drums were bigger than him, and yet he was still kind of just working away at it.
He was adorable. They were all adorable, and their act was really good. This is another act that as soon as it came out, I was like, I would pay to see this as well today.
They were they were really, really great as I think just a good uplifting start to the show. And it really only got better and better, including Bonavega at the end of the episode, where I thought, oh, this is going to be the episode where they end with a joke because they already used the golden buzzer. But
yeah, this was such a packed episode of actual acts that I was just like, one after another that were coming in. I was just like, these guys are good. These guys are good. Yeah. And the other thing that I actually really liked about this episode that isn't about the acts is actually about Sophia. And it was something that I was a little bit worried about. I think you said you were a little bit worried about it. That when new judges come in, it seems like they're a little more nervous to kind of like get on that buzzer if things aren't working out and they are a problem. Give them the X. And I was really glad to see that montage of her sort of speaking up, because she's always been that person that speaks up. So when I heard she was being brought onto the show, I was like, oh, good. This is going to be good, because she's not going to be timid and she is going to say what she feels. And it was nice to see that come in, that montage. I was like, all right, perfect.
Yeah, I think this
she's exactly what I hoped she would be.
This did a much better job of showing off Sophia, I think, than the premiere, where we didn't get as much of her. And I also just think that it was, as weird as it sounds, I was glad that there was a bad act that was thrown in this episode, because it did add a little bit of that. Not that I need to see somebody like humming songs with their mouth closed ever again on the show.
Yeah, the ventriloquist with no puppet.
That was sort of the opposite of Bonavega, where she sort of comes out, she looks very professional and sort of just put together.
It was very strange.
Yeah, I was like, all right, this is gonna be good. This is gonna be somebody we'll be talking about later.
That is one of those things that I don't understand when people tell them that that's a talent.
I think
like
she had to know.
Like, oh, this is such an interesting thing you do, that you need to do this for 3,000 people. Who told you this?
She must have known that this was just going to be a silly thing on television.
I like to think that.
That's the world I'm living in. But anyway, we're all living in a world of good talent on America's Got Talent tonight. So let us know who you like the most from this episode. And if you did enjoy it, give us a like, subscribe, and support us further by checking that link in the description to the store. And we'll see you here next time.